Good rainy Friday and happy Halloween. Welcome to the Penguin Review Show here on Rookery Radio, Real College Radio. Today, we're talking the 50th anniversary issue. The whole process of making it and all that good stuff. On the soundboard, I'm David. I'm sorry, Rebecca. Rebecca's in studio and so is Tom.
Hello, happy Halloween.
So if you're listening, and I guess if you'd like to call in and ask any questions about the whole process, things like that, give us a call at 330-941-4010. And if you'd like to call in and discuss the 50th issue, the number to the studio is 330-941-4010. Okay, Rebecca, I'll throw it to you because you did a ton of work. Tom did a ton of work. I helped where I could. So I'll let you guys handle this one.
I don't know. I was actually going to let Tom start. He can talk a little bit about what it means that we're at 50 years, like the significance of 50 years of Penguin Review.
Might add real quick, you're dressed as Doctor Who, right, Tom?
No.
Who are you today?
He's Carl from Up.
Do you not see the balloons?
I'm sorry, I don't know. I've never seen Up. Okay, he's dressed as the guy
It's
from
a
Up.
really good look. If you ever see him walking across campus, tell him it looks really great. He's this is one of the best costumes.
I just saw the bow
today.
tie.
There's a lot of good
Doctor Who.
costumes today. Sorry, I mean I know we're supposed to be talking about something
Yeah,
else, but
it is Halloween though.
Everybody. I love all the costumes. People dressed up. It looks great.
Did you see about 40 of them? Because
Not about
if
40.
So, that might be my students.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
All right,
Extra
Tom,
credit
sorry.
for the win. Yeah, happy Halloween again, everybody. So,
Yes.
50th anniversary, what it means. The fact that Penguin Review is the longest running print literary magazine on this campus, and it's been around for 50 years, means a heck of a lot. We read through and looked at a lot of artwork for the 50th. The fact that so many people have contributed to it or wanted to contribute to it,
Right.
it just means so much. Even over the years, I don't know how many submissions were collected, but all of those works that were published by all of those different people coming from various situations, all of the poetry, the artwork, the nonfiction, the fiction, the screenplays, the years that they accepted screenplays, they're just amazing. And the fact that we have the ability to showcase the work from the past 50 years, and I mean, even some of the people that we did get in contact with that were published or that worked on it as editors, as staff members, as layout designers. Those people were so excited. Some of them didn't even know that Penguin Review was still around. Seeing the differences between the very political 70s and...
it's fascinating, yeah.
Definitely. When they decided to change the name to The Review. They decided to change the name to The Review because they didn't like having penguins as...
Oh, I have the letter. I'm going to pull up that letter and read it for you guys, but you have to give me a minute.
It was absolutely amazing.
It's so fascinating. Let me find it in here. I have it all.
The places that Penguin Review has been and the places that the artists, poets, writers have gone on to be, finding those things out absolutely amazed me. And I couldn't be happier to be putting this out this year. And I hope that in 50 years, the three of us are attending the 100th anniversary of Penguin Review.
Okay, I'm almost to this letter, I think. Nope, that's not it.
What's it mean to you to be part of the 50th anniversary, David?
Oh, wait, I found it.
Sorry, there we go. I turned my mic down for a sec. Oh, you found it? Go ahead.
I'll read
I'm sorry,
it.
go ahead.
Okay, let me see what year it was. It was 1979. It was called Notes from the Arbitrary. They called it the Arbitrary instead of the editor that year. So this is what they wrote. Current trends in literary magazine layout employ a basic Stark effect. Poetry and prose are positioned in the midst of a bare page and are isolated from the rest of the magazine. The elements of a page are also disjointed, frequently placed deliberately off-center in a conscientious effort to avoid symmetry or flow. We have examined this practice and, while recognizing its simple beauty and avant-garde arrangement, have found this style to be too presumptuous, operating on the assumption that this piece of literature or graphic art is an entire truth which needs no introduction other than a Spartan presentation. In many ways, this approach is much more grandiose than the techniques used in this year's review. However, other factors have influenced our choice of layout style. We have attempted to involve people from all facets of the university community in this year's publication. For example, the review staff of editors is composed of an English student, a respiratory therapy student, an art student, a history student, a music student, and a management student. A diverse range of disciplines which we believe has broadened the scope of this magazine. This widened perspective is also represented in the number of people whose works are presented in this publication. We have tried to involve a greater number of people from the university's population so that the review would indeed reflect its creative capacity as a whole. Each page of this year's review has been treated as an artistic whole, a separate entity composed of graphic and written elements. So each page, this is me, not the letter, each page in this year had words on it and then had images like intertwined with it. It was so interesting. Okay, back to the letter. In addition, we have decided to drop penguin from the title of the magazine, feeling that a literary and artistic product should not be associated with a mascot or symbol used almost exclusively in relation to university athletic programs. Furthermore, the first names of the people involved in this magazine have been reduced to a first initial in order to avoid what could be called readership sexism, ensuring that each work of art is unhindered by social prejudice. That's it.
I appreciate that, but it made it so
I love it.
hard sometimes when looking for these people.
Right.
Because that's another thing that we did, the table of contents. Who in the world is this person? We can't find their name. There is no table of contents in this year's issue.
Yeah, it's been it was such a ordeal, I guess you could say, trying to get in touch with people. We're still trying to get in touch with people to let them know November 20th. We're having a launch party to celebrate 50 years of Penguin Review. It's free and open to the public. Everyone is welcome. If you were involved in the Penguin Review in the past, we invite you to share your work, whether that means bringing in artwork or reading your work. You're welcome to bring in current work also. It doesn't have to just be what was published previously.
It'd actually be really rad. We recently found out that we had some teachers from Ursuline listening. Hello, Ursuline teachers. Former Ursuline student here. It'd be really cool if you came, and even if you got some of your students to come too.
Right? It's going to be an absolutely great event. We're going to have refreshments provided by Walrus Subs. Again, it is November 20th at 7 p.m. It's in the DeBartolo Stadium Clubhouse, which is in Stambaugh Stadium. And we're so excited. Like, we just sent the book to the printer Wednesday.
Yep.
They're probably printing it as we speak. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be super awesome.
It's going to be in our hands soon.
Right.
So cool.
Right. So back to Tom's question, David. What does it mean to you to be part of 50 years of Penguin Review?
It feels, I mean, it's nice. I wish I could have helped more. I feel bad that I couldn't
You did
help.
so much.
I wish I could have been there with you guys all weekend, but I had a lot going on
That's
at
true.
home. I tried best I could to do some submission stuff for you guys.
You
but
did so much.
I wish, that was my thing. I was like, I wish I could have helped more, but it does feel special to be able to be a part of it. I'll probably feel it more. I'm one of those things is like I don't really feel it until the day of. So I think at the launch party I'll probably feel it more than I do now. But yeah, I am glad to be a part of it. But you guys definitely should be proud of what the work you guys did because you guys really busted your butts this week and things like that. So
yeah, Tom and I and Alex Punzakar, who's not here right now, we were in the office like 10 to 15 hours a day for 7 days in a row.
Yeah.
It was quite an adventure. Yeah, it was 7 days in a row.
Oh,
7 days of being in one room for the least amount of time was 10 hours straight. The most amount of time was 15 hours straight.
Yeah.
Which was...
What, Tuesday? No, Monday. Yeah. Monday was 9 until midnight is what time I was in the office. Yeah, it was. I feel bad about that. I feel really bad because I made Tom and David and Alex and David's girlfriend all stay, but it was a good time.
No, it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, I commend you guys. Good job, seriously.
So let's talk a little bit about the process. Tom, do you want to do that, or do you want me to do that?
If you want to take it over.
We didn't have most of the issues. We had
No.
maybe 20 years worth of issues.
Yeah, we
Maybe.
were missing a lot of issues. We had to go to the library where in the archive section, they actually had the majority of the issues, and they were kind enough to scan them for us so that we could put the magazine this year together from
Right.
all of those various years.
Yeah, so that was the first step. Well, really what happened was last year well, yeah, it was about this time. Tom was like, I think that this is a milestone year for Penguin Review. And I was like, no, it's not. That's not a real thing. And then, like, the week before we went to print in the spring, that was when we found out for sure. Tom was like, this is the 50th anniversary of Penguin Review. And I'm like,
Can't
no.
even remember how I found out.
I don't remember either. I think Karen Schubert said something, didn't she?
I think so.
I feel like she did. And then we found out from there. And so we were trying to figure out what are we going to do in this week before we have to send it to the printer? How are we going to get this together? And then we were like, we should do a special issue in the fall. That would be a great idea.
Yes, a great idea.
Right. Thank you. Yes, that was a great idea. So then we spent all summer in the library. We went through the old reviews and came up with a list of all the contributors and former staff members. And we started working on getting emails for them and other contact information for them. And the archives department scanned the books for us. And then once the books were scanned, we had to convert them so they were readable as text. And then from there, we had them broken down into submissions packets, and the submissions packets got sent to our staff. We read them as blind submissions, just like we do for the spring. And then from those submissions packets, we decided what was going to go into the book. And while this was going on, we were still collecting emails and emailing former contributors. And then finally, it just got all put together this week. We thought we were going to have more time to get sent to the printer. Like, the reason we were in the office for a week straight without leaving was because the deadline for the printer was moved up a little bit, and we had an entire week, right? It was a lot.
But it's done.
It's done. It's unbelievably done.
Does it feel like a weight off your shoulders?
I was so relieved as soon as it was done.
That's good.
Yeah.
Magic.
Right. Magic. I feel so much better about life right now. So I think we were also gonna read some stuff today. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll read something first, because I have it pulled up right in front of me as soon as I can find it. Okay, this is my favorite poem, and I'm probably not going to read it really well. And this is one that is going into the 50th. We may read some stuff that isn't going into the 50th. But this one is going into the 50th. And it's called Stamtich, which I might be mispronouncing, hopefully not. But what that means is a gathering of people. It's by Ivana Rezic. And what year did we publish it? Let me check that. It was published in the Penguin Review in 1974. I'm excited for you guys to see this poem because visually it's really interesting, but I'm going to read it. Again, they sit around this nervous snail-embroidered table, around this too bright for late-night talk kitchen lamp, but 2 points. Even when there are 2 people do not determine a circle, and a leaf has been added, along with us kids, making it an elongated titch, but 2 points determine a line, the focus of their eyes aligned with the sharp outlight of the lamp-cut shadows. Again, they stick around for 11:30 cookie and coffee, far from fruit tort and outdoor cafes on Maria Hilferstrasse, and the Semmering, and how many mountains has he climbed, and that time he almost fell off, that night he stayed all night holding on, and the circles he later got around his eyes, dreaming that it was all right, really was true. She was an unofficial affidavit to the fact. In fact, she later saved his life, with Nodal and 2 kinder, and there was always something on the Stamtich, books or stuffed peppers and their overheard words. Our visions of myself falling off of Triglav, and 3 points determine a circle but also a triangle, as well as a plane, and don't mention it again, the shrimp I had refused to eat on the plane, assembled in the living room, color on the titch, on every titch. both sides of the Atlantic, myself losing time and sleep and catching up again. My life an intercontinental shuttle flight. From round schnitzel to ground hamburger to round schnitzel, just pile them all around the kitchen lamp end. Consider all the possible circles and lines they determine geometrically similar. Perhaps that is may or may not be what they do sitting around. Do you remember winning? I'll have to ask them what number. No, they got busted. I'll get an almond joy before I fall asleep on the sprattering spiel. A snake slithering round the Matterhorn. It doesn't matter horn, the shattered horn, the Mad Hatter horn, Mozart's post horn. You are late. And that's the poem. It's my favorite poem.
Boom. Drop the mic.
Boom. Drop the mic. We published Ivana Rutzik several times. I think it was 3 or 4 times. And I had never read anything by her before. She was a YSU student. And I was so blown away by her writing. It knocked me out, and I love it. It's my favorite stuff.
Do we know if she's coming or not? Or
I don't know.
information?
We haven't heard back, unfortunately. Because we published her in 74, it's been hard to reach people.
Most don't have emails.
So many of
Right.
these people have last names that have changed.
Right.
I mean, some of them have died. They have
That's an unfortunate
emails that are not correct in the alumni system.
Right. So we're still trying to get in touch with people. We got more emails from the Alumni Association last week, and we're still working on it. Hopefully we'll hear from some more people.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you guys have something you want me to pull up that either I can read or you can read, or I can give you something to read? Or we can talk about something else. What you tell me what we're going to do next. Go ahead, Tom.
I would love to discuss something that didn't get in there.
Okay, what's that?
The Starbucks killer.
Oh, the Starbucks killer. Okay, we can read that one. That's from 2014.
That's from 2014.
We've read it before, though. We can discuss
We've
it.
read it
I'll
before.
read-
We can
Yeah.
discuss it.
I can read an excerpt, maybe.
Yeah.
Hang on.
The
Go ahead.
Starbucks killer is definitely one of my all-time favorites, and it's really applicable for today. Since
I just
Halloween.
Halloween.
right. I just want to clarify when we say it didn't go in. That means we didn't have permission to reprint
yeah,
it.
definitely.
I just want to make that clear. Like we would have republished everything if we could have, but we only got permission from a small number of people.
That's another thing that we didn't talk about. We could only publish the things in issues that didn't have copyright.
Right. We had to have the rights to reprint it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that was so fun.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
That's another detail that took a while. One of the things that I absolutely love about Starbucks Killer is it's so twisted, and most people just don't expect the outcome or what
Right.
the Starbucks Killer is going to do, and it's a lot of fun,
It is.
especially
It is.
for like I said, a day like today, Halloween.
Okay, so I'm going to read part of it. You can read the whole thing on our website, penguinreview.com. The 2014 edition is up there. And we also have a few hard copies of this one left, of the 2014. So if you want one, let us know. We'll have some at the launch of the 50th.
Definitely.
Okay, so this is Starbucks Killer by A.I. Rendon. I have ceased trying to explain my motives. I doubt I know for sure anymore what they are. All I know is that I get satisfaction from each successful mission, and there have been many successful missions. I suppose it started with my first job. It was in the same place as my current job, as all my jobs have been. They say you always remember your first. I didn't plan it out, not like so many of my other sprees. I hadn't known that Thompson would come into the Starbucks I was working in at 10 o'clock on a Friday night, and that there would only be 3 people in the cafe at the time. I'm pretty sure he didn't know about the special rat poison I happened to have with me, that is, until he was choking on it, along with the others in the shop. I cleaned the mess like I would eventually do in so many others and moved on. At first I thought I killed them because I hated Thompson, that if I got away with it I would never kill again. Yet 7 months later, I was on the move, having performed a quick cleanup of my second job at Starbucks. It was then I realized it had never been about Thompson. A few more months passed, and I moved on again, acknowledging that there probably wasn't a reason, or maybe there was and I just hadn't found it yet, not that it mattered. Explaining why would not bring back the dead, so I drove on. And that is Starbucks Killer. Tom loves that one. I like it too, it's really good. Really, really great. So we're still accepting submissions for next spring. We can talk about that. Like, this 50th, as we said before, was comprised of all previously published work. But in the spring, we'll be accepting new work. We'll be publishing a magazine of new work. You can send your submissions to penguinreview@gmail.com. We do a blind reading process, so our advisor goes through and takes off names. If you don't put your name on it, then you don't have to worry about it. It'll just be from your email. And that goes to the editorial board, who reads everything and makes decisions based on that. Super exciting, lots of fun.
Definitely.
Tom, how was the 50th different than our normal process? Let's talk about that.
The 50th was different than our normal process in a lot of ways. We had to go to the actual library to MOG. It wasn't digital. Our normal process is we accept submissions online.
Yes.
And we go through those online. Our advisor goes through those. She takes the names off so that we don't know who has submitted something, and then we go over them as a staff. We rate them. We talk about our ratings, why we rated something.
I don't like saying rate. It's not like rating. We read submissions and we decide if it's appropriate for the audience and for the tone of the magazine that we're going with. Sorry.
Okay. Yes, we give them...
You're not getting graded.
You're not getting graded. We give them scores 1 to 5 in different departments, or different areas, rather, of what we are looking for. So it isn't necessarily rating, because everything that somebody turns in is a piece of them.
Right.
Definitely. It's something that they've taken a lot of time for. Blood, sweat, and tears doesn't just apply to sports. It applies to writing as well. It's definitely a piece of you. But back to the question at hand, how is it different? The digital component, so much of it we do digitally now. They didn't used to do things digitally, so we had to look through all of the old, not all of the old submissions, but all of the old things that were printed, all of the old stories, all of the old photos, artwork, every single bit of it, and then decide that way what's going to go in, and hope that we get permission for some of it, because we, like I said, some of it was copywritten and we could not use something unless we got permission, and there was a lot of really, really great stuff that we just could not use because of that, because it was hard to reach some people. Everybody that we did reach, nobody said no. People are excited.
I wouldn't say nobody said no, but there were lots of people who didn't reply to us, so...
Yeah. Maybe the replies were no's.
The lack of reply.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's really interesting to talk to people about their past work and that kind of relationship you have with work that's out there and has been out there for a while. And some people were like, oh, I forgot about that particular piece. And some people were like, oh, I remember that. I'm not so sure if I want to see it again, but I remember it. So it was really interesting.
I really enjoy hearing from people that worked on Penguin Review over the years, that worked on Penguin Review before us.
Right.
Just their stories, things of that sort. I find them so interesting.
I agree. Oh, I'm sorry, a little tired. Still haven't slept. Since this whole thing started.
That's something that happens when you work on a literary magazine at a college.
It's funny because we were reading old letters from the editor, and there's another editor that was saying the same thing. I'm writing this letter 2 hours before it's due. It's midnight right now, and I haven't slept in 3 weeks. That's a joke. It's true.
That's a joke. It's true.
Yeah, that's a joke. It's true. Logic. Yay.
How
Go
was
ahead.
the process of working? You used InDesign, correct?
Yes.
How was the process of working with the magazine via InDesign? Talk a little bit about that, and then we'll take a quick break and then come back and talk about some more stuff.
Okay. Well, we opened up the option for people to send us in what's the word? Submissions for layout and design. Basically, you would submit a sample of pages and then end up designing the book. But no one sent us anything, which is so sad. Like, if you're listening right now and you're like, "Wow, I love designing book layout," you could design our book layout for the spring. If you're interested, email penguinreview@gmail.com. So, I had the immense pleasure of doing the layout for this book, and I enjoyed it. For the, I guess you could say, the inspiration for the layout, I looked at old issues of the Penguin Review, things that we've done before, things that I liked, we liked, things that worked well for the overall kind of flow of the magazine, that sort of thing. And it was a challenge. I have never done anything of this length before. It's going to be 112 pages. Last year, the book was 88 pages, I believe, and we had 2 people doing the layout and design last year, so it was a considerable amount easier. I don't want to say a lot easier, but it was less. And so this year, what I actually did first was we pulled out all the written submissions in a Word document. So that was all in one Word doc. And then from there, I put it into InDesign. For those people who are familiar with InDesign, there's something called Master Pages. It's a way of setting up kind of like templates. You could consider it templates. So I had that all set up, and then I had the pages set up, and then just started putting words and pictures in. We met with Bill Tomroy from Knepper Press, who works with the YSU Printing Services, and the 2 of them together are doing our printing. So he helped a lot, actually.
He was a huge help.
He was a big help, yeah. Some things like, I don't even know. The spine. You don't know how what size to make the spine of the book unless you know, like, the width of the pages, and like little technical complicated things that I'm not familiar with. I was in the graphic design program here for a while, but then I switched to English. So there's probably people out there who are listening to me talk and saying, like, what were you doing? You were doing it all wrong. But that's just the only way that I could do it.
It worked?
I mean, it's done now. It's going to be printed soon. I think it's going to look pretty good. We'll see.
A lot of minute details
Oh, yeah.
going. I mean, just a little bit of doc design stuff that I've been learning. Well, in terms of actual doc design, I don't know crap. But just watching you guys and then hearing about it, it is a very complex process. But
I just want to say one thing before I sound like someone who's not nice. Like, Alex Quinsicar did a lot too. Like, I got to this point where I'm like, I cannot possibly look at this anymore. I have no idea what I'm doing. And he just sat down and he's like, okay, I'm fixing this. I was like,
yeah,
thank the Lord.
I think it was interesting, the format, the layout of so many of the magazines, the way that they differed. Mm-hmm. Some people made the choice to put the page numbers in the spine, and
right. There were some very artistic years. Yes.
And
in the spine.
Yeah.
So you have to like.
So you have to
it's
flip
right
it
next
open.
to where the spine
So,
is. Yeah.
I see what
you have
you're
to flip it all the way open to see the number, which was odd. But good for that group of people. It was an artistic idea.
At our 50th launch, we're going to have a lot of these there that you can look at. You can look at
definitely.
how fantastic they are. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And the ones in the 70s, how they decided that they were going to use basically cardstock.
Oh, right. Right. I mean, currently we say it's a magazine, but it comes out as a perfect bound book is what it's technically called.
Yes.
So it's like a soft cover book, and it's amazing. It's the greatest thing. Like, when we get this book in our hands, I'm just going to be so thrilled. Last year, I didn't do as much as I did this year, but even last year when we got the book in our hands, it was like the greatest moment of my life. Like, you put all this time and effort into putting it together, and then you have it in your hand, and it's like super amazing.
And you crack open the box, and there's new book smell.
Right, that is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue talking the 50th anniversary of Penguin Review. If you'd like to call in, the number to the studio is 330-941-4010. Again, if you'd like to call in, talk the 50th anniversary. If you're listening, you were published, we'd like to hear from you. That would be cool. So if you are listening, you got published at sometime in the last 50 years. The number to the studio is 330-941-4010.
So where were we? I forget. I still haven't slept. That's where we're at.
I can read that one poem.
Oh, do you want to read it? I have it pulled up, but
Yeah,
you
I've
can
got
read
it right here.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Cool. Do you want me to intro it?
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
because I have it anonymously here when I was reading it.
Oh, yeah. So this is a poem. Well, see, I am unsure if this is a poem or a prose poem. Or
I would feel more
if
like a
it's
prose poem.
somewhere between prose and poetry. It's that's a thing. And this was unfortunately a piece that we wanted to include, but we weren't able to because of the length constraints of our book. We do have another piece by this author in our book that you can check out. And obviously you can look it up in an old issue of the Penguin Review. But it's called The Last In-Flight Supper, and it's by Dr. William Greenway. So go ahead, David.
The Last In-Flight Supper. This is Jenny, your air hostess. There is no cause for alarm, but many of you have noticed, by our list to the left, that we have lost our starboard engine. Not lost in the sense of a malfunction, but in the sense of dropping off and falling away. Though the plane is perfectly capable of continuing the flight with only one engine, still, this might be a good time for some quiet reflection. I, for instance, immediately thought of young Jimmy, who maybe I should have married. But, sweet as he was, he had few prospects, and so I chose Steady Brian instead, who turned out to be a lying, cheating hound. But there you are. We struggle on as best as we... This is Captain Robicho, I think that's how you say that, speaking. At last report, we had lost one of our two engines. Now it seems the other one, perhaps sickened by grief, shows signs of wanting to join its mate in some stratosphere parallel to our own. Unfortunately, we are so far from our destination we cannot hope to arrive, and no other port is near. We could land in some cornfield in Iowa, or a stretch of interstate, as in the movies, or a nice placid body of water, like one of the Great Lakes, or the East River would also be welcome. But, since we're flying over the most rugged of the Rockies, that prospect seems unlikely. And a jet plane without propulsion flies a lot like a very large boulder. But, where you are, there you are, as Jenny says. The black box is recording what will probably be my last words, with the background music of our special rendition of Nearer My God to Thee, which, given our elevated circumstances, is even more appropriate now than it was on the Titanic. So enjoy your last little bag of pretzels and half a can of soda. I'm signing off now to say goodbye to the wife and kids, and yes, you too may turn your cell phones back on. And then I advise you to assume the hard landing position, which, appropriately enough for our non-terrorist or even terrorist Near East passengers, comes comfortably close to the position of praying to Allah. And we happen to be heading east. I've turned off the lights for the seatbelts, whose efficacy, even in the best of conditions, is laughable. So you're free to remove your prayer rugs from the overhead compartments. For the rest of us, the same position will serve to kiss our asses goodbye. Thank you for flying Universal Air. And speaking on behalf of the entire flight crew, we hope that you, until just recently anyway, have had a pleasant flight. We'll be on the ground soon.
That's great. It's priceless.
Oh, man, that would be something else.
That's something else. All right.
I have a very twisted sense of humor. That's why I
know
enjoyed
David
that one.
loved that one.
I really like that one.
Right.
It's Halloween.
Right?
Yeah,
there you go.
Halloween. Secretly, this is a Halloween-themed
Episode,
right? That's
somehow.
the word. That's
Everything dark from the past 50 years.
Right. Anything else you want to say right now, Tom, or I can read something else?
Dr. Will Greenway, like so many of the other authors in our 50th anniversary, he's a poet, and he's a professor that we are lucky enough to have on Youngstown State's own campus. And I think the three of us have had classes with Dr. Greenway. Yeah, he's a very good teacher. And I know that a lot of us like him. He's very highly esteemed, published not just in Penguin Review, but also has won multiple awards. We are so lucky to have him in this year's Penguin Review.
Absolutely. His selected works has just been released.
Okay.
Right. I would say you probably should talk to him about getting a copy of that, because I don't have the information about that. I was just at a reading, I think it was about a week and a half ago, through the Poetry Center and Crow. They did a reading in Dr. Greenway. It was the first time I heard him read. It was great. I've had classes with him. I had never heard him read before. I mean,
his works
give a reading, not
of his own work.
Yeah, of his own work, right? Yeah. So it was awesome. So I was thinking I could read another one. This is another piece that we had wanted to include, but because of space we had to cut, and we have something else by this author in the 50th. This is S. Allen Siskey, and this is from 1971. It's untitled. I knew Janine before she became another lumpy figurine, at once jumping and, oh my god, wasting all those quartz iodine evenings on Sam Chap, who secretly desired nothing but his thumb on the top of her head. Janine knew me when I thought myself the second coming, and wasted all those mercury vapor nights transforming illusions, while harboring nothing more than a desire to call up ancient idols of night-long neon diners and bring them to root in present abyss. I recall several pink evenings inside a chain-link fence, leaning near the unreal quartz, smoking long cigarettes, a cheap aroma in her hair, and her telling me of the particular mysteries, somehow still not touching the center of worth any more closely than the cushioned waistlines of literary societies. Janine, were we mistaken not to exploit just once that glow that draws, like an old woman to a wake, those of us who foresee ourselves straying, walking the aimless pinballs, distant sirens, blue beacons, that make us all that we become, wasting all those mercury vapor evenings that end as abruptly as the water's edge? But from time to time the truth appears, in the form of not Janine, nor me, but in the form of the romance between the quartz iodine evening and the chain-link fence. I really liked that one. I was really sad to have to cut it.
The imagery in that is amazing.
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought.
That is very impressive.
So, Tom, you asked David, let me ask you the same question. What does it mean to you to be a part of 50 Years of Penguin Review?
What it means to me to be part of 50 years of Penguin Review is just, like I was saying before, there's so much history. To be part of that history, maybe to be invited back when there's 75 years
Hopefully,
or 100 years.
2,000 years. No, I'm kidding.
2,000 modern medicine, maybe.
There we go.
Who knows?
We might make it.
Well,
Be great.
Anyhow,
Be great.
I just think it's something special.
Mm-hmm.
It's special because we're being included with all of these great authors, all of these people who have done all of these amazing things,
That's
not
so
only
true.
when they were in college, not only when they were undergraduates, being published in Penguin Review, but also now moving on, becoming doctors, being published in other prestigious magazines, creating their own literary magazines, finding their own jobs, that kind of thing. It's just, it's fun to be part of making it, and it's also fun to know that we're putting out something that they were part of and helping people in 2014 see things, or see their pieces from 1964 on.
Right.
That's really cool.
Right. It is so cool.
Yeah, I mean, you're part of a large conversation of artistic expression, and it is a piece of history.
Right.
So yeah, that's something to be very proud and excited about.
It's something that was a lot of work, but
True.
Yeah,
True.
I know, Rebecca. It's something that was a lot of work, but it's also something that needed to be done. Despite how crazy,
I don't know. Yep.
how crazy it drove us. It was something that absolutely needed to be done. We needed to do it up big. It's the 50th anniversary. Anytime that you have an anniversary such as that, you cannot ignore it. And I'm glad that we aren't ignoring the work that these people have gone through.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So I'll read another piece right now. This is also from 1971. This is another piece that we had wanted to include, but we're not able to because of the length of the book. There's so much good stuff. It was an incredibly difficult process. But we have another piece by this author in the 50th. This is written by James Villani, who owns Pig Iron Press downtown. So that was really cool to see. You know, he's really gone far from the start at YSEO. And it's called Puppeteer. Afternoons, the puppets play on the square. Poplar's shade elated children, strung, possessed by calculated ritual. Toss a penny in the tin cup. Puppets, swift to move, subtle to suggest, dialectics of motions and contact. What sedulous application underlies this child's sacrament? For a penny anyone can see, yet only children devour the mystery. Toss a penny in the tin cup. Pennies, filched from kitchen counters, pennies from the sale of abandoned bottles, pennies earned by peddling morning papers on the square. Every evening, weary, I plod home. I often pause before the puppet's stall, a zealot but for a time, drawn not by puppets but by an obtruse puppeteer. Curtains close, children filter home. I wait. The squalid priest appears. Priest. Oh, anemic, odious frame. How it desperately lingers over the tiny tin cup, devours the silent tin cup. What decrepit Socrates is this to author such a liturgy? Toss a penny in the tin cup. Toss a penny in the tin cup. For a fistful of copper pennies, devour the silent tin cup. And that's the piece. That's the whole piece.
That's good. I had another thought,
Okay.
too. So many times, so often, a lot of us hear, oh, the arts are dying, the arts are dying. Well, the thing about the Penguin Review, it's been around for 50 years.
Right.
It's something that we can't let die.
Right.
Because when so many people are thinking the arts are dying with every single literary magazine or anytime something like that happens, more art dies. We have art, we have photography, we have screenplays, we have nonfiction, poetry, fiction. These are things that people are contributing. These are things that undergraduates are sending into us. Art isn't dying. People are saying that art is dying, which leads to a mass thought that, hey, it's leaving. It's not leaving. We just need to play it up. And by playing it up big in the 50th anniversary edition, then we are showing that we're not giving up.
I agree. I think that's great. Something you sometimes still have to look for, but I think if you look for it, you can find it.
Definitely. And I like that we work with undergraduate work in Penguin Review because a lot of times these kids are coming from high schools, like Ursuline, another shout out. A lot of times these kids are coming from high schools not knowing exactly where they can go. Can I write? That kind of thing. Can I still do my artwork? Do I have to give this up if I go into history? No, you don't have to give it up.
Right.
You can still do your artwork. We even have this place for you to do your artwork, a place for you to exhibit part of you, what you do, your love.
I think it's awesome. I think Penguin Review gives undergraduates and students in general an opportunity to have a platform, to have their voice be heard and have their work be seen. And I think that's a really great opportunity that not a lot of places give you. So I'm very, very happy to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, it is an opportunity for students to, express themselves. College is a place where, and this is going to sound real corny, but you're discovering who you are, hopefully. And if you are into writing and do artwork and things like that, it's a great opportunity to try and get your work out there and for other people to check it out.
Right.
Unless you just want to keep it all to yourself.
Right.
Then.
I think one of the most important things as a writer or an artist is getting your work out there, getting it seen, and this is a really good opportunity for that.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yep. So we have about less than 5 minutes left, so we're going to go over all the things that you should remember and do. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram.
Yep.
Check us out. If you want more information about the 50th, it'll be on Facebook soon. Our launch is going to be November 20th at 7 p.m. in the DeVartlo Stadium Club, which is in Stambaugh Stadium. It's free and open to the public. We will have delicious refreshments provided by Walrus Subs. We will have copies of the 50th anniversary edition there for free. We welcome everyone to come out. It's going to be a great time. There's going to be readings by past contributors and artwork on display. And you're going to be able to look at old Penguin reviews, and it's going to be a great time.
You know what? That's something else special that we do. There are so many literary magazines that charge money for the literary magazine, and whereas we need to do fundraising and stuff to actually make money and hope to God for donations, we give it out for free, not just to YSU students, but to the community at large if they want it. And that's another thing, supporting the arts, showing the community, showing Youngstown that we do that. That's just something that needs to be played up.
So there you have it, November 20th at 7 p.m.
Yep, show up.
Gonna be a great time. The other thing is, you can still submit your work if you're a YSU undergrad. Send it to penguinreview@gmail.com. We're gonna be reading submissions in early December, so our deadline is December 1st. You can send us work until that time. And we will be very excited to read and look at what you send us.
And if it wasn't made clear, though we mentioned it, major is irrelevant. You can be in the STEM field. You could be doing math, and like I like to write poetry. It doesn't matter your major. You don't have to be related to the English field at all. You don't have to be in creative writing. If you like to write, do artwork, things of that nature, as long as you're an undergrad here at YSU, send it to us. All right, well, some things coming up. Later today, we have the Small Town Throwdown Country Show from 1 to 3, the Rock Show from 3 to 5, my buddy Jamal Show, 1093 Nation from 5 to 7, The Mix from 7 to 9, Club Rookery from 9 to 6 a.m. Saturday, Love is Music, YSU Edition, 12 to 2, Life Show from 3 to 5, The Rewind, 5 to 7, Control Alt Rock from 7 to 9, and Club Rookery again from 9 to 6. And then it starts all over again Monday with my show, The Nerd Perspective, which all our shows, you guys are usually all on there anyways, 8 to 10 a.m. This Monday we're talking the new slate of Marvel movies. So Marvel just announced their slate of films from now until 2019, so we're going to be talking that. A lot of excitement there, so tune in Monday, 8 to 10. And then the Penguin Review Show will be back next Wednesday, 12 to 1. Also coming up at the historic Quaker Station in Akron is the Akron Comic-Con. The show opens Saturday at 10 a.m. and closes at 6 p.m. Sunday hours will be 11 to 5. General admission tickets are $10. A 2-day pass is $15. Kids 13 years and younger are free, and the parking deck and surface lot parking is free. Some of the special guests are Aaron Archer, Alan Bellman, Ron Friends, Graham Nolan, and Gary Conway, the guy who wrote the Death of Gwen Stacy storyline and also created The Punisher. So if you've got time on November 8th and 9th, Quaker Station, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Tom?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay.
Just came up with another question.
Okay. All right, well, thanks for listening, folks. Keep it locked in here for the rest of the day on Rookery Radio, Real College Radio. We'll see you next week. Take care. Have a happy Halloween. Be safe.